comes.
All right. Welcome, everyone, to the June 27th Xenia City Council regular meeting agenda. And I'd like everybody to please stand, and I'll go ahead and do a prayer for us before we get started here. Father, thank you for today. Thank you in your providence of giving us another day to be the steward of our families and the resources that you've given us. And thank you for an opportunity for us to come here and be a steward of the city. So, Father, I just pray that tonight, as we discuss items and go over things, help us lean on your wisdom and not on our own, and help us listen well to each other. Thank you for those of our staff that are out traveling. Just pray that they'd have some refreshment, and Faith, while she's down in Texas as well, too. Father, just safe travels there, too. And we pray for our folks on the streets, whether in patrol cars or out with the paramedics or the engines as they go. Father, just give them wisdom and strength in the situations that they'll be walking into, many of which you just could never be trained for, but you have to respond to. And so we're thankful for them, and just pray for their safety as well. Praise things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Face the flag, and the mayor will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. I'll go ahead and call our meeting to order, and let's go ahead and start with the roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Here.
Councilman Crawford.
Here.
Councilwoman Cerise. Councilman Reynolds.
Here.
Councilman Dean. Mayor Mays.
Here.
President Urschel.
Here.
Mr. President, I'll
go
make
ahead.
a motion, you probably want to do that.
Sure.
To excuse Councilwoman Cerise for work reasons tonight. And also, I guess, Councilman Dean, who's on his way.
Correct, yeah. Councilman Dean had alerted us he'd be a few minutes late as well, too. So, all right, we have a motion. Do I have a second? All right, second. Thank you. Councilman Reynolds. Let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Urschel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. All right, approval of minutes for our June 13th, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by the mayor. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Thank you. There was just a few minor corrections. We got that's what was passed out here before, just in terms of the pledge and the first vote there on roll call. So, any comments or questions before we progress? Okay, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith.
Abstain.
Councilman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds.
Aye.
Mayor Mays.
Aye.
President Urschel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. We have no special presentations tonight. Next item is audience comments. If anyone would like to come and address the council, please feel free to come forward. State your name and address, and join us up here at the podium, and you've got 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and press on. We have no old business, and we'll go straight into new business. The first item is ordinance 2024-13, and this is an emergency. This is amending ordinance 2024-11 to provide appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures for the city of Xenia, Ohio for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2024, and declaring an emergency. Mr. Finance Director.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. We are requesting appropriations this evening for a few different purposes. Several of these are related to the Market District project, and I'll just say kind of as a blanket statement for each of these things, remember that a lot of these expenses are eligible for reimbursement once we issue bonds and we get the public finance plan together. One of those expenses is for additional legal fees, an amount of $40,000. Another one is for the engineering of the park and the promenade space. We didn't want to proceed with a contract for that engineering until we felt better about the project actually moving forward. And so those dollars are being requested for appropriation. And then the CIC is going to need to take a more prominent role in this development than what we had originally thought. And in order to do that, they're going to need some resources. The CIC doesn't have any mechanism in place right now for the generation of resources, and so we're asking for $15,000 that would be contributed for the CIC to help facilitate that development. We're also requesting some dollars be appropriated for some training opportunities in the law department in the amount of $3,000. These are going to be fully reimbursed by a grant. we're requesting that $15,000 be budgeted as an appropriation for part-time seasonal employees. These employees maintain landscaping in the downtown area, do some mowing. That should have been included in the regular budget, but we did not include it. I don't think we were entirely confident that we were going to be able to find people to fill those roles, but we have been able to find those people. And so those are the core expenditures that we're requesting additional appropriations for this evening. There are, of course, specific details of each of those in the agenda item, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Great. All right, do I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move to adopt ordinance 2024-13.
Great, do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Great, thanks, James. Any, questions or comments here?
I did just realize I missed one other key appropriation that's related to streetlights in the downtown and replacement of a lot of those so that they can be maintained by Miami Valley Lighting. That will be covered by a grant. Staff has done a really good job procuring some dollars for that purpose. A $400,000 grant that will help to replace a lot of the lights in the downtown. So maintenance of those and the responsibility for that can be transferred to Miami Valley Lighting moving forward.
So we're appropriating the funds for that, but we're looking to be reimbursed from the grant.
Correct.
Right. Great. Good. And, Chris, that's great. We get going with that this year. That's going to be on 2nd, 3rd Street. Is that correct?
2nd, 3rd Church, South Detroit.
Great.
Yeah. So, yeah, but as the finance director was saying right there, we've received the grant, we just have never officially appropriated
Right,
it, and that's
right.
what this really is.
Sure.
And there's an agenda item, I think, at the next
At the
meeting
next meeting.
coming to council to actually approve award of that, or well,
Waiving
award
the
of the
bidding.
contract, waiving the bidding.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. And this will hit a bunch of those lights that have been very difficult to maintain.
55.
That's correct. That's the Acorn lights, which
Yep.
there's no longer any parts available for
Right,
that.
right.
Correct. And getting more back to our standard like we were planning to have in the market district and what you see throughout the downtown.
Yeah. Great.
Great
Good.
job.
Okay. All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments? All right, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Crawford?
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds?
Aye.
Mayor Mays?
Aye.
President Urschel?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Great. This next is an introduction of ordinance 2024-14. This is enacting section 241.12 titled Court Security Officers of the Xenia City Code. Chris, you want to give us some background on that?
Sure. Thank you, Council President there. So as many of you know, in 2020, the Ohio Supreme Court conducted a vulnerability security assessment of our municipal court. Xenia Municipal Court got a grant for this Ohio Supreme Court to come down to basically look around and say, hey, you're vulnerable here from a security standpoint for safety of people visiting. As we all know.
Yeah.
So obviously, and as we all know here, we're currently under construction for the Justice Center bump out, as we call it, expansion there. The thought was, after looking at all the details, it doesn't make sense just to protect Xenia Municipal Court. We may as well do it out front where anybody entering that building. So it's not only municipal court, it's PD. It's 911 dispatch, and it's also the law department. So by putting it out there, everyone is screened before they get into the building, and it's really a setup just like you see at your airports, that you see at Greene County, Common Pleas Court, et cetera, et cetera. Well, obviously, and that work is, as I said, is under contract, as you all know. Well, obviously, when that work's done, we got to be able to man that thing somehow.
right.
And so what this does here tonight, this ordinance there,
We're just not going to do a rotation of the inmates. Just joking.
I hope not. So what the thought was in this particular case is basically the Xenia PD and working with the chief right there. I thought the best way to accomplish manning this is to hire an additional 4 part-time Ohio peace-trained certified officers to man this thing. Right now, we're only authorized to have 2 from the organizational plan adopted on May the 9th, I believe it was earlier. So this will not only add those positions, but it also establishes what their roles are and what they can and can't do. If you're a certified officer there, you have the ability to arrest and detain the bad guys, so to speak. If you're not certified there, then you have the ability to detain only. But the thought is, obviously, and who we're really targeting and hoping to get is as retired police officers. Obviously, it's a good fit. Most of them have that certification, I would think, unless the chief would correct me if I'm wrong. So, so tonight, at least in this is just an introduction of this ordinance that'll adopt a new section of the city's administrative code, 24112 specifically, which basically lays out those roles of those part-time peace officers. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have on that.
And my understanding is that when it's manned, we'll have 2 of the court
At a
security
time.
officers at a time.
Correct,
Right,
yeah,
right.
it would be too difficult to do. It just, once again, like you see at the Common Pleas Court right there, because somebody's obviously got to be looking at the monitor, and then I'm sure someone else is going to be checking bags and et cetera, so.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty common, what we have over at the main courthouse and some other locations too, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Chris.
Sure.
All right, this is an introduction. Would someone like to move to introduce?
I'll move to introduce.
Great, thank you. Councilman Reynolds, all right. Next item is a resolution, 2024-040, and this will also include a public hearing. This is adopting the tax budget of the city of Xenia, Ohio for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2025, after public hearing on said tax budget, and authorizing the finance director to submit the tax budget to the Greene County auditor. Mr. Finance Director.
Thank you, Council President. The Uniform Tax Levy Law, Chapter 5705, requires the council would hold a public hearing and adopt the tax budget by July 15th, and then that it would be filed with the county auditor by July 20th. This is a step that we take each and every year. The city or the county budget commission will then take a look at the tax budget. They will certify tax rates, and we'll be bringing something back to council later this year where you would approve those tax rates. This particular action, it doesn't authorize any funding. It's a very preliminary budget that is required by state law. To be honest, because of some of the transition happening this year in the assistant city manager role, we've actually held less in the way of meetings with departments and haven't gotten into some of the detail that we typically would, even at this stage, because we wanted Mr. Henry to be able to participate in those meetings and in that budget preparation process. So we'll really start to dive into the budget process to a greater extent here later this summer as we start to prepare the actual operating budget that will come back to council for consideration. This tax budget is totaling $83,600,000. We always want to help or to communicate that there are a lot of things in there like transfers and interfund loans, chargebacks that impact that budget, and so what's actually spent is only a fraction of that. So there's something in the way of like $17 million in transfers, for example, in that budget that's essentially counting those expenditures twice. The tax budget is available for the public to review upon request. They can get a copy of that, or we can email them a copy. They contact the finance department. Again, this doesn't authorize any spending or appropriate any funds. It's the first step in the budget process, and as council approves it, we'll then certify it with the county auditor, and that will allow us then to proceed with getting rates from them on what they estimate the revenues will generate in the future. I should mention also that the renewal levy that's slated to go on the ballot in November is not included in these revenues, and so they are only including the revenues in this tax budget that are actually approved to be collected next year. I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
Sure. And Ryan, my understanding too is that this is used as a normal part of business to authorize the inside millage to each of the municipalities as well.
Correct. It is now. In reality, I don't know that the inside millage ever actually changes. We used to have a hearing, we'd go to it, we'd ask if there's any available inside millage. The answer was always no. And I don't think that the proportionment of that inside millage has changed in a very long time.
Right.
So theoretically, yes, I think that's how it's supposed to work. Though I don't
But this helps
envision-
substantiate our Our justification for what we are
Yes,
receiving.
yes, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be used for, but I don't know that we would expect any change in inside millage based on what we submit.
Right, great. Well, before I ask for a motion on this, let's go ahead and have the public hearing then. So at this point, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. If anyone would like to come and have comments either in favor or against, or just some observations on the tax budget, please feel free to come up to the podium, state your name, and you get an opportunity to address the council. Okay, seeing no one, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. All right, do I have a motion?
I motion resolution 2024-040.
Great. Councilman Reynolds, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by the mayor. Any comments or questions by the council? All right, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor May. President Urschel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Next item is Resolution 2024-41, amending the Resolution 2024-29, establishing the city's 2024 organizational plan, listing position titles and numbers of positions for each title for the city of Xenia personnel. Chris.
Thank you, Council President. This is a companion piece to the ordinance that was just introduced a couple minutes ago. Section 1006 of the city charter, which was adopted by the voters here in May of 2022, requires the city's administrative steering committee to recommend to council a yearly organizational plan.
Right.
So what that plan entails, just for the public, is it gives a listing for council's benefit, all positions, titles, classification, whether you're non-classified or classified employee, number of employees, pay grades, the whole shooting match.
Right.
So the last time that organization, the 2024 organizational plan was submitted and adopted by City Council was on May 9th of 2024 via Resolution 2024-029. What you have before you tonight with this resolution is to amend that particular resolution adopted May 9th of earlier this year to add those 4 part-time court security officers that we just discussed there with the introduction earlier this evening. It'll obviously, the intent is that 4 of those officers would be on a rotating schedule with the other 2. Remember, we've already got 2 authorized here, so 6 total. The other 2 would play a role kind of as a filler or maybe a floater if one of the normal guys is on vacation, for instance, type of thing. So we believe the daily staffing needs can be met without service interruption and not exceeding the number of hours, so you can maintain part-time status there with the addition of these 4 part-time court security officers. Therefore, tonight I'm requesting adoption of the resolution 2024-041, amending resolution 2024-029 to increase the authorized number of part-time court security officers from 2 to 6. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Great. Do we have a motion on the resolution?
Mr. President, I move for resolution 2024-041.
Great. Councilman Reynolds, do I have a second?
A second.
Second by the mayor.
Question.
Sure, go ahead.
So what hours are we gonna staff security there?
Well, I don't know if that's been necessarily determined, but clearly, it's something we're going to discuss internally. The latest you would think in the morning would be 8 o'clock because obviously people going up to court. Right. It may be a 7:30 type of thing right there as well because people may start to come up to the lobby to come to court, and then obviously 5 o'clock would seem legit.
4
or 5.
4. The municipal court, the law department, the PD administration, the Justice Center is typically open 7:30 to 4. Those are the hours that all the departments in the building operate. So I would guess we probably do it 7:30 to 4 while those departments and buildings are open. The court does open at 7:30. The first hearing's never till 8 o'clock, as Chris said. Mm-hmm. But you do have people show up and need to check in. Yeah. So I'd imagine it would be 7:30 to 4 when the Justice Center's open.
So is that on Monday through Friday?
Yeah, yes, it would be Monday through Friday, obviously, because even though court may not be in session, all 5 days, Monday through Friday, throughout the entire day. You still got to go to the law department, you still may need to go to PD, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not just for court.
And there's something on the court docket
Right, right.
every day.
I guess you could do that part-time with 4 people rotating, that like it happens.
Yeah, because remember, they can't work 40-hour work weeks to keep
And
maintaining.
two.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you got the other rotators.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to do the math, how you were gonna come up with just part-time when you're open full-time with
Yeah.
that. But
So,
I get it.
and I don't know if it's been fully defined yet, but at least I thought we had some discussions that there might be an availability to use some of the bailiffs as well. Is that still on the thinking, Chris?
If need be.
Yeah, it's a possibility because as the law director will affirm right there, we had this discussion right there, they have the ability to act in these positions, the bailiffs do.
Yes,
Correct.
yes. The bailiffs are actually a police officer, you know, if the chief needed, could fill in.
Yeah, okay,
Correct.
great.
Sounds good.
What is the effective date for this program?
Well, it's obviously yet to be determined. It's obviously not going to happen until the alcove is completed there. So, we're looking, September-ish, early
Okay.
September.
Very nice.
The goal was to get all these pieces in place though, so the administrative service director could start advertising.
Sure.
Have the people, so once we do know we're ready to open it, and we need it manned, we're not scrambling to get people. There are a lot of retired law enforcement officers that are looking for part-time work. So, our hope is we'll have a lot of applicants.
All right. In a second. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Crawford?
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor May?
Aye.
President Urschel?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item is Resolution 2024-42. This is approving the final plat for the Grandstone Trace subdivision, Section 1, and authorizing the execution of a subdividers agreement with D.R. Horton, Indiana LLC. Chris?
Okay, this is pretty standard stuff here, so to speak, there for any subdivision coming in here into the city. This is approving the final plat for the Grandstone Trace subdivision, Section 1. For those that are not certain which one, this one out on Fairgrounds Road. Everybody's seen all the dirt being moved out there, next to St. Bridget. The council previously approved an earlier iteration of this subdivision on September the 14th of 23 via resolution 2023-045. But that earlier iteration included 27 lots, but most notably, it did not include the extension of Hollywood Drive going all into Fairgrounds Road. And because, if you recall, there was a
Were they
lot of
still doing the
discussion
traffic
there
study?
about reducing the speed limit along Fairgrounds Road, that was at the request of the previous developer. Well, and that request was taken to the county engineer because that is a county road through there. So in order for that reduction of speed right there, you have to make some improvements out on Fairgrounds Road, which includes a southbound left turn lane into this future Grandstone Trace subdivision. So with that, though, there's now going to be, with this new Section 1 of the Grandstone Trace, 56 lots that includes that extension of Hollywood Boulevard. To accommodate the speed limit reduction down to 40 miles per hour between Purcell Avenue and Hawkins Schoolhouse Road. Now, the preliminary plat for this PUD, Grandstone Trace PUD, was first approved by Planning and Zoning on April the 7th of 22, which includes 162 lots total. That's for the entire development. And then what you have before you tonight is just final plat approval for Section 1 and Section 1 only. That was taken to Planning and Zoning on March the 13th of 24. Adoption of this resolution not only approves the final plat, but it authorizes the subdividers agreement. Once again, this is pretty standard stuff with any new subdivision that holds the developers' feet to the fire to make all the necessary public infrastructure improvements, and obviously there's bonding issues with that as well. So be happy to answer any questions.
Chris, what was the result of that traffic study done on Fairgrounds?
So it was basically to reduce to 40 miles an hour, you had to add a southbound left turn into the subdivision. So Sarah's looking up there. It's coming from Hawkins Road to turn left into there. There will be a left turn lane into there.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Interesting.
All right,
Yes.
and-
And it's based upon the length of that turn lane right there as well. So, which defined 40 miles an hour. If, for instance, and I'm just off the cuff, if you wanted a 55 mile an hour or something like then it's a longer turn lane type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Just to give you perspective on that.
But speed slows down as soon as you enter the city anyways, right? Fairly
Yes,
rapidly,
correct.
right?
That's correct. Yeah, this is just from Purcell to Hawkins Schoolhouse Road.
House Road, okay.
Correct.
Great, all right. All right, we have a motion?
I make a motion to accept resolution 42.
Great, Councilman,
Second.
moved by Councilman Crawford, seconded by Councilman Reynolds. Any other questions or comments? Okay, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor May. President Urschel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. Next item is Resolution 2024-43. That's adopting an urban renewal plan and associated blight designation for the Xenia Market District redevelopment project and approving related matters. Chris?
Thank you, Council President. One more time, I can't speak
Sure.
tonight. As everyone knows, the old Xenia Town Square has suffered many years of high vacancy, deferred maintenance of both on the buildings, the parking lots. We've discovered in the past some adverse environmental conditions, to name a few, over the last 2 decades or so. In 2020, city acquired leasehold interest of the primary retail buildings, followed by the full site control of the old Ramada Hotel property in 2022. So as we all know, we're looking for a redevelopment of that site, which is now deemed the Xenia Market District, with our partners at the Dillon Group. And pursuant to ORC Section 108, we're looking at a blighted area designation, and I won't go through in the agenda report. I think the law director kind of quoted the ORC directly, does a great job explaining that. However, to be deemed a blighted area, hence we're seeking the designation of urban renewal plan. So it gives that 70% of the parcels within an area need to be deemed blighted at a minimum. And so we feel, based upon the urban renewal development plan, I think you all got with your packets, goes through a lot of details of what was discovered over the years for this site. So we think it's pretty much a slam dunk to get that blighted designation, hence the designation for an urban renewal redevelopment project. So basically, also, if you think about it as well, this urban renewal designate or plan for redevelopment of the Xenia Market District site is really a subset of all the work of Mr. Forshner has done there with the next plan, and that was recently adopted by you all at a meeting or so ago. And adopting this urban renewal plan also provides avenues for financing opportunities and grant funding opportunities as well. So with that, I request adoption of this resolution tonight to establish an urban renewal plan and associated blight designation for the Xenia Market District redevelopment project and approving related matters, and I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Great. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by the mayor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Reynolds. Any questions or comments before we vote? Say thanks, Chris, for all the hard work for the staff on this, and Brian.
Goes all
Once again,
around.
it's just one more piece of the fruit coming out of the next plan there. So thanks for the hard work on that as well,
Yeah.
too.
One thing's for sure, this market district involves pretty much most all departments right now.
Right. Great. All right, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Crawford.
Aye.
Councilman Reynolds.
Aye.
Councilman Dean.
Aye.
Mayor May.
Aye.
President Urschel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great. All right. Next item is appointed officials reports. Mr. Finance Director.
Thank you, sir. Utility bills with many of the changes that were effective June 1st went out last week. they're starting to hit mailboxes and some email inboxes as well this week. So we are getting a number of calls from customers concerning some of the changes. There are a variety of questions, but many of them are related to, like vacant properties, for example, that are now getting a bill. The sanitation fee being one of those specific questions. I think people are a little confused about what all is entailed in that sanitation fee. I think they're thinking strictly, trash collection, and they're not understanding some of the other expenses that we have related to the landfill maintenance and street sweeping and those types of things that are included in that fee. And so we're doing our best to walk people through some of that. There are a lot of FAQs and information on our website where people can go to get some of that information. There's some information in our phone queue as well that tries to provide some of those answers, but people can also reach out to us in the utility billing department and ask questions. The wait times are a little longer, or even a lot longer than what they typically are because of the call volume and a lot of people getting these at the same time. We've tried to do our due diligence in getting inserts out to people, social media messages, communicating some of these changes, but it gets real and people are really concerned with it when obviously it's actually on the bill for payment. And so we just encourage people to visit our website as kind of a first place for answers. It's a quick, effective way to get some answers. But if they still have questions, they can reach out to us, and we'll do our best to walk people through that and be happy to answer any questions that council might have about some of those changes as well.
Yeah. What's been the call volume about the change of billing for rental properties?
It's not so much lately. Actually, I think a lot of the people who own property and are landlords had reached out to us previously. They were made aware of those changes through the inserts and some of the social media outreach. And so I think most of those calls probably happened, 2, 3, even 4 months ago, and we worked through a lot of those questions. I don't know that we're receiving a ton of questions related to that now. Most of it's related to the curb and gutter fee or the billing of vacant properties, those types of things, more so than the questions related to tenant-landlord relationship.
Was that implemented with this billing cycle in June?
As far as the
tenant-landlord?
Yes, it was. Now, implementing these changes was a significant undertaking. We're talking, 40,000 parcels to sort through and figure out, especially, specifically related to stormwater. Worked with Public Service and their GIS department, and we did our best to try to group these things correctly, because you may have, one property that, it's one owner, but 6 different parcels, and trying to make sure that all of this is treated correctly and fairly. And I have no doubt that we're going to get numerous calls over the next, few weeks that we need to make some tweaks to those things. As far as, sorry, take me back to your original.
Just as we've implemented the question was the tenant landlord, the switch there to the landlords. Was that implemented this month?
Oh yes. So. We've done, I think, the vast majority of that, but it's going to take going through and comparing every single account to what the county has in their records. And so I can't say with 100% confidence that we've moved over every one of them, but we've moved over the majority of them.
Okay.
So we'll continue to work through that to make sure that what we have as the owner of record in our system matches what's in the county system. But there may still be a little bit of work to do there, though.
Right. And I'm assuming there were some properties that were already in the landlord's name.
A lot of
with, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't say the majority, but there were a good number of property owners who already had the accounts in their names. So, yeah, but the process of trying to verify that all those records match is a lengthy one. And to be honest, most of our attention over the last couple of months has gone toward the stormwater implementation, trying to make sure that all that is administered correctly. So there may still be a little bit of work to do there, but functionally, we're treating it in that way. That yes, the property owner is responsible for it. May there be a few properties still that we need to move over? There might be, because it wasn't until June 1st that they were required by
Correct.
law to switch that.
Right.
And so many of them did it voluntarily prior to that, but there may be a few that we still need to work through.
And how about feedback on the stormwater assessments? Was that billing this month as well?
Yes, yes. Now, we sent out letters a couple of months ago to
Right.
the people who were impacted to the greatest extent, who were going to get larger. So you're talking commercial businesses with a lot of impervious surface. And we got a number of calls back from customers that were concerned then. I wouldn't say it was a ton, but there were a number of property owners who were concerned. I think for the most part, we were able to address their concerns, and they understood the process and why we were implementing it. I know there are some people who are going to be applying to public service for credits who have on-site retention. And there may be some people who thought that the calculation wasn't correct, and so there's a process they can go through to make sure that we did apply it correctly and calculated the impervious surface correctly. But again, I'm sure that there is some of that still trickling in, but I think a lot of that was addressed a couple of months ago when those letters went out. Because I think that the people who were seeing the largest increases were already aware of it at that point and had
That's
reached out to us.
That's correct.
Good. I know we had some questions about some of the nonprofits. And we did follow up amongst council with a number of them. And I think the biggest concern was that it had some older churches that might have larger properties but smaller congregations, and this might be a larger impact to them. But as we went through all the specifics there, I don't think we saw anything that was an outlier there. I don't think we've got any feedback from that perspective either. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure as bills are now due that there may be a few of those that still trickle in, and we'll address those as they come. But overall, it's been fairly smooth for as significant of a change as this was,
Right.
in a total rewrite of the code and several changes to different areas. I think it's gone fairly smoothly, but it'll probably be a few more months before we really are confident that it's all sorted out. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
What did we
So-
expect? Go ahead, James.
So, Mr. Duke, did this new policy affect all residential parcels and including commercial and including agricultural? Is that
Yeah,
what we're
nearly
doing?
every parcel in the city was impacted. Now, there is an
Regardless of
exemption
zone.
for agricultural. So if your property is designated by the county auditor as agricultural and there's not a house on that property, then you wouldn't be charged the stormwater fee. So there's an exemption for agriculture. Pretty much every other parcel in the city is impacted to some extent.
Okay.
And it depends on, residential is all consistent. If it's a residential property, it's a flat fee and it doesn't matter how large your house is or how much impervious surface you have. If it's a non-residential, then it's looking at the actual impervious surface and the impact to the stormwater system.
Got
And
it.
it's calculated based on your impervious surface.
And my last question, for we that are asking, or we're being asked these questions, what department specifically, is it your department that people are calling, or is it just the water department?
Utility billing is
Okay.
the first stop. They
Okay.
should reach out to utility billing first, and hopefully they can get, the vast majority of questions can be answered there. Doesn't mean people are always going to like the answer, but I think hopefully people will understand, what's been changed and how it's being applied. If people still have questions or if they still aren't satisfied, they can certainly talk to myself or to Jason, and we'd be happy to talk to them.
Thank you very much.
Any follow-up, though, with, as the finance director says, as far as that, if someone believes that it was miscalculated, i.e. the number of ERUs, and/or that they're deserving of a credit, it's referred from utility billing over to public service,
Okay.
the engineering division.
That's an equivalent residential unit. Correct. Which is the basis of the calculation, right, of the impervious area, right? Well, and once again, the goal of all of this is to get the funds to help us restore our stormwater system, which we need to have for flooding as well as getting water off the road so our roads don't deteriorate. And the same way with the curbs and sidewalks so that we can do consistent repair across the whole city.
Real quick question. I was on council when we voted for this, but what was the total amount that the fees are going to generate?
Yeah, so the curb and gutter fees would be somewhere around $600,000 annually. And we've been communicating to residents who've asked questions about that, that, you know, one of the benefits of that program is that it's gonna make street paving dollars go further. Because right now, and as of, you know, the last many years, many of the street repaving dollars are also going to fix the curb and gutter. Because if you don't have curb and gutter, the street's gonna fall apart.
Right.
And so $600,000 in the curb and gutter that will help to facilitate more street improvements, among other things. I think it was about 1.2 million in the ERU stormwater revenue. Now that's before any credits are given. And so we'll wait and see how many people actually have on-site retention that qualifies from an engineering standpoint and what those credits look like. There are going to be some, but I don't know that it's going to be a significant impact. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.2 million in stormwater that will help to provide resources for a utility. That the stormwater utility really has not seen major investment in some areas in 100 years. I mean, it's in, there are some very significant expenses to fix our stormwater conveyance system, and so those dollars will start to help us to address that. So about 1.2 million in that. Most of the other fees are just your typical increases to water, sewer, sanitation rates that have already been in effect, and so those those will generate a percentage increase to those rates, but it won't be a significant impact.
All right, and then what did we potentially spend last year on curb and gutter from the city's standpoint? Do you know?
We have in our annual CIP, and I'm just talking out loud, we have $100,000 to devote to stormwater. That could be curb, gutter, catch basin, so $100,000, which goes back to the finance director's point about by having these extra dollars, we could put more in asphalt and not in less in the concrete.
Every street program we did, there was a substantial amount also allocated to the curbs and gutters of those streets that reduced the amount of asphalt we were able to purchase.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and what most cities do, under the revised code, the cost of replacing curb and gutter is typically the property owner's responsibility. Xenia is unique in that we don't assess those costs to the property owners when we do a project. Most cities, when they're doing a paving project, if there's curb and gutter that needs to be replaced, they will assess each property.
Right.
So
On
you
the
could
street.
get, a $300 to $2,000 assessment placed on your property for the cost of that curb and gutter. So the thought with that surcharge is you pay a little every month. Everybody pays it. When we pave your street, you're not going to get an assessment for curb and gutter, because we will have those funds to be able to do it. So that was kind of the thought as well, so that we don't have to start assessing and we don't have to hit people with big assessments on their property tax bills. That was something we were trying to avoid.
Right.
Very nice.
That's all the questions I had. Thank you.
And we have some streets where the curbs are gone.
Yeah, gone.
Gone,
Yes.
completely, right.
Crumbled.
Right,
Gone.
Right. So maybe able to actually address those, right?
Yes, correct.
Good.
That's for the wider lanes.
What's that? Oh.
That is for the wider lanes.
Is that extra parking? Is that what
It's
you're
extra
saying?
parking.
Yeah.
Safer parking.
Safer. Great, thanks. Thanks, Ryan. Any other questions to Ryan? All right. Madam Law Director.
You gonna talk about the pool?
Yeah.
Okay. I have nothing then. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions for Danette?
Nope.
All right.
Okay. I just wanted to remind
Let me just make
everyone.
one comment. Chris, we're glad to have you here with us tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Brett is on a well-deserved vacation with his family, and appreciate you stepping up and
Sure.
being with us tonight.
Sure, thank you. Just as a reminder, for just one item, next Friday, July 5th, that's from 3 to 8. We start off the day with the Red, White, and Blue block party downtown. The event includes live music, car show, children's games, cornhole tournament, children's sporting activities, bike parade, food trucks. And I can't believe I hit everything there, but just to give you an idea. And then after that, at dusk right there is our annual, the Kevin Salnical Memorial Fireworks Festival at dusk. Which is obviously, this is something that everyone in this community really adores, looks forward to, whatever adjective you want to use right there.
Yeah.
So just as a reminder, for next Friday, July the 5th, it'll be the day after Independence Day. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
I know we close Thursday.
And as law director reminds me, we're closed obviously on Independence Day, July the 4th.
Correct. Great. There'll be activities down at Shawnee Park as well, too. Downtown and at Shawnee
Yeah,
Park.
yes.
Great. Any questions for Chris?
That's what you've done. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to the council comments and reports. I'm going to start with Councilman Reynolds.
I have nothing to add tonight other than 4th of July is coming up. Hope everyone's safe and has a good time and celebrates our country's independence from the British Empire. It's such a great holiday to
Hear,
do.
hear.
So to be a part of, obviously fireworks, just be safe and enjoy the time.
Great, great. Council Crawford.
Yes, the BZA met on June 24th of this month, and it had more to do with the Gertie's. We voted on a Gertie's expansion on an existing building that contains a non-conforming self-storage business. And that was unanimously approved. That's all I have.
Great. Councilman Dean.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything to say.
Great, thank you. Mr. Vice President.
Thank you very much. Just happy 4th of July next week. And again, thank those veterans that we have the freedom to celebrate 4th of July. And I apologize, I've missed a couple meetings there for work commitments.
It's okay, we gave you a lot of assignments.
Thank you very much. And I was actually gone last week. We didn't have a council meeting, but I sat in on a seminar for work. I sat an employee with me, and the keynote speaker was actually a veteran, a Marine veteran who lost his leg in Afghanistan on the way to actually help a fallen comrade who had a device that blew his leg off. So as he's trying to save someone, he loses his leg. Good news is he came back home, had good rehab, excellent motivational speaker. He's been on Amazing Race, season 28. He works in law enforcement now with prevention of child trafficking, which was just wonderful. And, you know, the biggest thing that he said is, you know, as he gave his leg for freedom, is he woke up alive and was so grateful just to be alive, and said, you know, every day you wake up, realize this is the first day of the rest of your life. So do something with it. Be positive. It's hard in today's world to be happy and grateful for what we have when we see all the issues that we have and the infighting and the conflicts. But again, that's the biggest thing that spoke to me was live with gratitude. That you have freedoms, and every day you're breathing is a good day. So thank you very much.
Good to have you back, Wes.
Thank you.
Thanks. Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. A couple things to report. On Friday, June 14th, Sheriff Anger had the annual Flag Day ceremony with the retirement of flags. They retired a little over 4,800 flags this year, which is a new record for them. The attorney
Say that again.
4,800 flags.
Wow.
So it's a very dignified and respectful ceremony, and they have a lot of moving pieces in that. I had an opportunity to sing the national anthem. The Attorney General spoke. There was a young man from the Boy Scouts that spoke. There was history of our flag and how to properly retire the flag. So it was a beautiful day, beautiful evening. On Saturday, August 15th, I attended the official grand opening of the Wooden Family Fieldhouse with the ribbon cutting. It was a beautiful ceremony, very hot,
It was.
but
Yes.
it was very fun. Apparently, I represent Xenia, Greene County, and the state of Ohio.
Yeah,
That was
I
my
was excited to
introduction.
hear that.
I know. It was a
You
new,
get
a
paid-
new
are you
level
getting
for
paid
me.
for all
I'm
that?
sure not. But I liked the title.
We'll have to tax you on all that too. It's good.
Wednesday, June 19th, attended the community celebration for Juneteenth that was put together by Teresa Henry. It was a lot of fun to be at and just appreciated her efforts in putting that together. On Wednesday, that same evening, I wanted to thank Officer Callan for allowing me to ride along that evening with her, both really the 19th and into the 20th. We stayed out fairly late and just what a reminder to be praying over our first responders, our police officers. They deal with a lot of things in the night that we don't know about, that go unseen, and just really appreciated the way she handled herself in a lot of situations. So she's a great officer. Thursday, June 20th, attended the swearing in of our newest member of Xenia PD, Officer Noah Grooms. Wanted to welcome him and his family. Tuesday, June 25th, had a meeting with Elaine Bonner from Merge just to talk about some opportunities that they can continue to engage with us as a community, both at the just Xenia and the faith community throughout the county. So I'm really excited about the work that they are doing. Let's see, I've lost my place. That same morning was the ribbon cutting for the new campground at Caesar Ford Park. So congratulations to Greene County Parks and Rec. Wednesday the 26th, attended the Clark State Foundation board meeting. And then today was the ribbon cutting for the new Outreach Center for Violence-Free Futures. This second campus will be used specifically for people who do not need shelter per se, but there are services provided, counseling available to them. They've done a wonderful job. It was also adjacent to that, right next to that then was the luncheon for the retirement celebration for Debbie Matheson, who is retiring after 30 years of service. She's done incredible work in our community, so I wanted to publicly congratulate her. And then, as it was said, reminder about the Red, White, and Blue Block Party. We are very excited. A lot of the churches are doing kids' games, face paintings, crafts. There's going to be a lot that's happening, so very, very much looking forward to that. Can't wait. That's all I have.
Great. Thanks so much. Yeah, I would just say, with Juneteenth being a new holiday in our nation, a lot of communities kind of struggling in terms of how do you handle the celebration for that. And I just want to say thanks to Teresa Henry, who last year said, well, why don't we have a worship service? And why don't we look towards things that are going to honor unity of us and unity under God as well too. And she got a wonderful worship service put together for us last year, and we did that again out at Lexington Park this year too. It was interesting talking to my grandkids. They said, well, why do we have a Juneteenth? And I said, it's the bookend for July 4th, because when we start off saying the hope that all men were created equal, Juneteenth really was the fulfillment of that across our nation, right? And it took a long time and a lot of bloodshed and a lot of pain and suffering, but it was accomplished. So it was a great time out at Lexington. We had an opportunity to pray and remind ourselves of that. We had 4 of our pastors were out there as well too, and just a very healthy time for the community. So I just wanted to tell Teresa thanks for that, and for the folks that came out and celebrated with us as well too. Great. Well, at this time, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get a motion for us to go into executive session. This has to do with personnel matters of public employees. This is per Ohio Revised Code 121.22. Also, discussions for confidential business information regarding economic development. And that's per our Charter 13.03. And then also general legal advice from our counsel from Ohio Revised Code 13.03.
Charter.
You're right, I apologize, from a charter, correct. So, do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by the mayor, seconded by Councilman Reynolds. We will be going into executive. I don't believe this will be very long. And then we'll go back into regular session there in the room. We do not have any additional business that we'll be conducting after that time period. So, all right, any questions or comments on that before we call the vote on that? All right, let's go ahead and call the vote.
Vice President Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Crawford?
Aye.
Councilman Councilman Reynolds?
Aye.
Councilman Dean?
Aye.
Mayor Mays? President Urschel?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, all right.